guys, Comic Boom here to review Wonder Woman Annual number 2, which involves Wonder Woman, who embodies love, battling a darker god of love by the name of Carnell, who's from the darker universe flowing out of the pages of metal. Is it any good? Let's check it out. Guys, for those of you who haven't been following Wonder Woman, I can tell you that flowing out of the pages of Wonder Woman and her brother Jason, in a recent issue of Wonder Woman, issue 47, confronted a darker pantheon of gods, monoliths that have sort of entered Earth's atmospheres, and they're darker gods, and they're kind of mysterious. Nobody really knows why they're here, why they came to Earth, but we do know that they were, ever since the ending of Metal, at the end of DC's big event Metal, written by Scott Snyder, we know that the source wall was broken, and that now the rules are off, and now darker forces from the dark universe have entered our universe, and apparently the dark pantheon of gods is something that Wonder Woman and her brother Jason are going to have to confront. But what happened at the end of issue 47 of Wonder Woman is that just as her and her brother Jason were about to confront the darker pantheon of gods that entered Earth's atmosphere, all of a sudden the star Sapphire showed up and scooped Wonder Woman away and took her to the planet Zamaron because they said they really, really needed her help. And this Wonder Woman Annual number 2 basically deals with what happens on Zamaron. Is this issue needed? You can skip this issue because by the time I'm done summarizing it, you can get a good handle in terms of what's going on. I got some criticisms of this comic. It's written by James Robinson again. The art's really good, so once again, it's the same criticism. The writing seems to be a little off, but the art really seems to be pretty good, and I'll be showing you the art as we go along. So, a little bit of background about Star Sapphires. Star Sapphires are part of the Green Lantern mythology. For those of you who don't know, a little bit of a background. Green Lantern, who's Hal Jordan, his old love interest back in the day was a woman by the name of Carol Ferris, and Carol Ferris at one point became the villain of Green Lantern, called Star Sapphire. Now, as the Green Lantern mythology expanded, the Star Sapphires became sort of like the power of love, whereas Green Lanterns have willpower, Star Sapphires get their power from love. But each Star Sapphire differs in how they control and utilize the power of love, because the idea is that love is kind of flawed, because all of us, we all possess love and we're capable of loving, but some of us might be jealous, some of us might have a darker side to our love, some of us might be might premise our love on conditions versus unconditional love. So love is kind of a many and splendid thing, so to speak, and so it's kind of a superfluous sort of concept, love, in a sense. It's got religious overtones, it's got emotional overtones. So, you know, you talk to a different person, you can get different ideas of what love embodies and what it is. And that's one of the problems with, I think, this issue, is that we got Wonder Woman who has unconditional love in many ways. She's battling a darker god called Carnell, who has infiltrated our universe and is essentially attacking the planet of Zamaron, where the Star Sapphires live. And this darker god, Carnell, this darker god of love, is essentially killing all the Star Sapphires, and he was doing this deliberately because he wanted them to call on Wonder Woman, because he wants to kill Wonder Woman. And it's kind of interesting because at first I thought this Carnell god was a woman. The artists draw him like a woman, and then they draw him like a man. So it's almost like they draw him looking like both genders, which I guess is fine because a god can be both. So that's so I guess that's maybe kind of cool, or I don't know if that was intentional or not. So there was some sort of vagueness in the art, but that's besides the point. What's off about this is that it's a little bit crazy. The origin apparently out of the pages of Metal at the end of issue 6 of Metal. The series ended with all the Justice League forming a circle, and sort of a kumbaya circle, and they were all wearing the 10th metal, and they by utilizing the 10th metal, they sort of wished the Earth. They all made wishes apparently, and they wished the Earth back into safety. Metal I'll be blunt. Metal wasn't a particularly well-written series. It was confusing and all over the place, and it was hard to understand. It wasn't particularly clear, and unfortunately, let's just say that it ended in a confusing manner. But it's all you need to know about Metal is that at the end of Metal, the Dark Universe is now exposed to our universe, and the Dark Pantheon has infiltrated Wonder Woman's universe. That's all you really need to know. And apparently, it's revealed in Wonder Woman Annual here that apparently Wonder Woman wished the gods to return, which was not disclosed in Metal number 6. So it feels kind of forced here, but apparently she wished the gods to return, but because she didn't specifically wish the Greek gods to return, apparently her wish through the 10th Metal, it was misunderstood, and it forced and pulled into our universe the darker pantheon of gods that are arriving on Earth. And one of these gods is Karnell, the dark god of love, and he wants to kill Wonder Woman for reasons which I don't really understand. It's not really explained, and he believes that love is conditional, and that all love is conditional, and he's killing all the Star Sapphires because all the Star Sapphires, and this is where it doesn't make a lot of sense. It says that he's killing the Star Sapphires because the Star Sapphires will attack Karnell, but if their love isn't pure, if there's even one flaw in their love, they're going to be killed. And everyone has a flaw in how they love, so Karnell easily kills them. But that doesn't make a lot of sense because Karnell himself, by his own definition or her own by his own defining or her own defining, he basically has flawed love because he believes that love is conditional, and he's cruel, and so his own love is conditional. And he explains his origin to Wonder Woman, and he used to be a scared little boy that eventually got powers in his own universe because his mom was beat up by his dad, who was the king. And so he's a pretty screwed up kid, and he's got pretty flawed love himself, but somehow his flawed love kills the flawed love of the Star Sapphire. It doesn't make a lot of sense, a lot of inconsistencies. And then to top it off, Wonder Woman and him battle, and Wonder Woman defeats him with her love, and then stabs him with a sword. Doesn't seem very loving to me. I don't really get it. This whole issue is fan service. It's fan service because those of you who like Blackest Night and you like seeing Wonder Woman as a Star Sapphire, you get her see her as a Star Sapphire again. She uses her power. Basically, she has all the Star Sapphires shoot their love power into her sword, and then she's the channel, and because she's got more unconditional love, that she filters their love through her unconditional love, and that defeats the dark god of Karnell. That's the easiest way to explain it. When you delve deeper into it, it doesn't make any sense. But to be quite frank, I don't think it's possible to make it make sense because that's just the nature of love, and there's different ideas of love, and there's different flawed loves, and I don't really understand how. I don't understand. It was not explained. I don't know how you can kill a dark god of love with love. You would think that if you're going to use more, how do you kill a god of love by piercing them with love? Wouldn't that make the god more powerful? Isn't that sort of like trying to defeat Superman by throwing a yellow sun at him? You're just going to make him more powerful. It doesn't make any sense that you're going to defeat a dark god of love by giving him more love. That just makes no sense to me. So that didn't make sense. And then to top it off, the dark god just goes back to Earth, and he's going to join his buddies. And then in the next issue of Wonder Woman, in issue 48, Wonder Woman and Jason are going to fight them all over again anyway. So what was the point of this issue? Other than, again, beautiful art, but it just seemed like it didn't it just seemed like almost like a pointless one-shot, and it doesn't really have an ending. So anyways, I could sit here and criticize it a little bit. It's really odd that Wonder Woman, who has the wisdom of Athena, when she makes a wish in the pages of Metal, apparently wasn't specific enough. I mean, I don't believe that for a second. Wonder Woman, when Wonder Woman's wishing the gods back, she obviously meant the Greek gods. She would have visualized that. So I don't buy that. I don't buy that for a second. I don't buy the story in here much for a second. The whole concept. Carol Ferris was conveniently not in the issue. There was a missed opportunity there. I think she ought to have been in this issue. I think it would have been better fan service by having her there. There was really no reason why Carol Ferris couldn't have been in here. Carol Ferris is called the most powerful of the Star Sapphires, which I think is interesting. I also think it doesn't make a lot of sense that she's the most powerful of the Star Sapphires, but that's another topic. So the art is serviceable. There's a whole slew of artists that work on here. James Robinson is the writer, and with Mark Lamming, Fraser Irving, and Jake Calafari, and Steven Segovia are the artists. I really like the cover. It's really great. I got to give credit for that. The cover is my favorite part of the entire book. There's an interesting aspect. There's an interesting page in here where Wonder Woman is basically, she's hit with some love and she shatters, and it shows scenes from Greg Rucka's Rebirth, which I find interesting, but it doesn't really make sense. I'm not sure what it does. I don't really know what the point of it was. I'm not really sure what shattered. I don't understand. They're battling each other's love. I really don't. I don't understand it. This Carnell is talking about, I confess, I question, am I the God of love? Of that love, of those conditions behind it. So Carnell is questioning himself or herself as a god, saying he's not sure if he's the God of love or if he's the God of the conditions upon which that love is based. So maybe he's not the God of love, but he's called the Carnell the God of love. So it's confusing. It's not very clear. I'm not really sure what the point of this was, and also why would Carnell separate himself from the other pantheon of gods and battle Wonder Woman alone? Why didn't he just stay on Earth and take on Wonder Woman on Earth and defeat her and Jason on Earth? It just didn't make a lot of sense to me, except maybe they're trying to separate them, and Carnell is hoping to kill and defeat Wonder Woman and separate her from Jason, because in the pages of Wonder Woman, her brother Jason was given armor by Zeus. Zeus created some armor meant for Wonder Woman to help defeat the darker gods, because Zeus saw the darker gods coming, but Jason, through a series of events, ended up accidentally being the recipient of this suit that Zeus created specifically for ostensibly for Wonder Woman, this armor, but apparently her brother Jason ended up with this armor that's going to help them defeat the darker gods. But clearly Wonder Woman doesn't need armor to defeat at least one of the gods, and now that she knows this darker god's weakness, because she knows she can defeat him so easily with her love. And again, I've complained before about this notion. I don't like the fact that Wonder Woman, once again, getting the equivalent of getting on her knees, subjugating herself, defeating this person with her love. Only now it's love and a sword. I'm stabbing you. There's something kind of sick and disgusting about, in putting your love into a sword and then stabbing a person, killing them, ostensibly killing them. There's just something wrong about that. Mind you, maybe that's just inherent in the mythology of Wonder Woman. In any event, I just like fisticuffs, and I like a battle, and I don't like confusing the matters with superfluous concepts like two love beings battling each other and defeating each other through the power of love, and yet since they're fighting each other, they don't love each other. When Wonder Woman stabs Carnell and says that I love you, and then stabs him, and I forgive you and I love you, there's an absurdity to that on multiple levels, and it just doesn't work. And I don't like embracing that aspect of Greg Rucka's run. Is such a huge mistake, because Wonder Woman is not an avatar. She is not Jesus Christ. She's not a religious figure. Stop treating her like one, and please stop writing her like one. It doesn't jive, it's inconsistent, and it doesn't even make sense, quite frankly, with the mythology. That's Aphrodite, if you want to get technical. That's not Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is simply a vehicle through which occasionally, sometimes, love can be put through. But she's got her love. This idea that somehow she's this powerful love goddess is absurd. Make her the god of war, make her powerful, make her kick ass in that respect. because I'm not a fan of this particular aspect of the character. But in any event, all in all, guys, it's not a necessary comic book to get. You can skip it. But if you like decent art and you're a big fan of Blackest Night and you loved Wonder Woman as a Star Sapphire, this is good fan service, so pick it up. Until next time, or next week when we review Wonder Woman issue 48, I believe, and continuing that Dark God saga, I'll see you guys later, and Comic Boom, out!